Hey everybody, it's Gomladex, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we are going to be playing my very first quick draft of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. Just interested to see how the bots are drafting this set. Hopefully they are drafting enough of those aggressive blue, white, and red decks that it's not all going to be that in the metagame, but I do want to take a peek here and see how the metagame ends up looking. Anyways, let's get into our pack 1, pick 1 here. We have 3 really viable options. Actually, kind of like 4 of them. There's a Waterwind Scout for a premium blue common, being a cheap flyer that hits us with that map token for good card advantage or some +1/+1 counters, which is great. The Clay-Fired Bricks is a really nice spell. It's going to make sure you hit your land drops consistently by drawing you an additional one while gaining some life, and that helps you get to the 7 mana to flip it in the late game, buffing your whole board and getting a couple more creatures. So really solid, really flexible card there. There's also the Deep Cavern Bat in black, which is nice, an evasive threat that can gain you some life throughout the game while ripping your opponent's best card out of their hand for a little while. And then we've got the Mythic here, which isn't actually that insane, Saheeli the Sun's Brilliance. Now, the problem with Saheeli in this format is that it's a super aggressive format where you want to be dumping all of your mana into casting spells every single turn, so it's kind of hard to get the extra mana to start using this ability and really abusing it later in the game, which actually drags Saheeli down quite a bit to a surprisingly low win rate on average, around 54%, where the average 17 lands user has about a 55% win rate, which is pretty disappointing. I think it's really just that the format is so fast that it kind of drags her down a little bit for sure. But she is a really cool card. The other issue with taking Saheeli here is that she does lock us into 2 colors right off the bat, so we are forced to try to just jam nothing but blue and red spells no matter what, whereas with any of these mono-colored cards like the Bricks, the Deep Cavern Bat, and the Waterwind Scout, they're all really powerful to where they'll fit into any deck in their color pairs and be super reasonable. So I'm just going to go for the Clay-Fired Bricks here over the Saheeli, starting off in white. For pick 2, we basically have 2 main options here. There's the Petrify for an on-color removal spell that's played pretty well, or for the best off-color card, I think that'd be Oaken Siren, because it's going to fit really well into the kind of deck that's running a Clay-Fired Bricks, because it can help get to the 7 mana we need to flip those bricks later in the game. Plus, blue-white is really good at playing a lot of artifacts in general, where the Oaken Siren will have other synergies, and it's good at buffing those flying creatures as well, so I think Oaken Siren just fits super well into the blue-white archetype to pick up right after the Clay-Fired Bricks. That I think I kind of want to head in that direction here and take the Oaken Siren over the Petrify mainly. There's also a Join the Dead, but if I'm going to take removal here, we're going to take the white removal spell, starting with the Clay-Fired Bricks. So, yeah, I mean, these 3 are the big cards. Stinging Cavecrawler is fine as well, but I don't think it works well in black-white. It's blue-black and black-green that can descend consistently for it. Pick number 3, there's an additional Oaken Siren, which is going to be a phenomenal addition to a blue-white deck. Pretty happy to take that. Not much it's competing with. There's the best green common, but this is obviously for dinosaur decks primarily, which we're very far away from. And that's about it, honestly. These 2 cards on the right are the only cards I'm a particularly big fan of. Pick number 4. Nothing super great on color. I definitely prefer the Brackish Blunder to the Acrobatic Leap. As a bounce spell instead of a combat trick, this one also could give us additional value by giving us the map token. So I like the Brackish Blunder a lot. There is also a Diamond Pickaxe here, and that pickaxe is pretty nice in red-white or blue-red because both of those decks have good ways to use those additional treasure tokens. Either we want more artifacts to hit the board in general, or we want to be able to tap those artifacts. So I think the pickaxe synergizes really well into any of the archetypes we'd end up in by moving into red. So I'm actually going to take the pickaxe over the blunder here. But I think those are both really nice cards. Pick 5, we'll easily go for consistency here and grab a 3rd Oaken Siren, but the Join the Dead for removal is also pretty sweet, and the Waylaying Pirates is a good stun card turn 4. Like all these a lot. Pick number 6, Zoetic Glyph. Alright, the quick draft bots are not perfect yet. They are far from it. We got past 4 Oaken Sirens in a row, and Zoetic Glyph is still going pick 6 in quick drafts. This would have happened week 1 of the format for sure, But it has been discovered at this point that there are just so many artifacts and artifact tokens to get on board that this is consistently an insane card. And when you have 3 Oaken Sirens in your deck, this thing's absolutely nuts. You get to build your own 5/4 Flying Vigilance that discovers 3 when it dies, so you still get value, even if they kill it. Zoetic Glyph is absurd, and we are going to take that. And just get past our 5th Oaken Siren in a row? Sure. Now for pick 8, we can take this Idol of the Deep King towards blue-red, because there's nothing in white or blue in this pack anyway. Pick 9, there's nothing here at all, so let's just draft for the collection, grab a Hoverstone Pilgrim. Pick number 10, I will happily take a Waylaying Pirates. It's going to be a great 4-drop in a deck that has 4 Oaken Sirens to start off on turn 2. Stunning something consistently when it hits the board. Now for pick 11, a deck that has a ton of 1/2s might get some amount of value off of turning them into 4/3s with a combat trick. Not going to be exciting, but it might work out. Pick 12, just take the red card just in case. It's kind of filler. Now we'll do some rare drafting and see what we get in pack number 2. So for pack number 2, we have found a really nice green-white spell, so we'd have to be blue-white-green to get the full value off of this, but even if you're just in white, being able to potentially draw extra creatures off of Kellen is pretty nice. And even when you're not hitting creatures off of Kellen looking at the top card, you can still put those cards in grave, so you can do some surveilling to set up your draws, which is kind of sweet. So Kellen's interesting, Kellen's pretty good. There's also this Lodestone Needle here, which is an excellent card for any blue deck, and it locks in on our by far most well-represented color. The Lodestone Needle is going to stun something for a couple turns, and then it's also going to turn into this Guidestone Compass, which can consistently give you value by exploring every single turn. So I've actually been quite impressed by the Lodestone Needle, and I haven't gotten to play with it too much. So I'll scoop it up here, sticking really, really deep to blue. Pack 2, pick 2, we now find probably the best white uncommon and the best red uncommon. These are both incredible cards. The Spring-Loaded Sawblades is a removal spell that also turns into a really efficient vehicle later in the game. Crew 1 for a 5/5, or tap some untapped artifacts to crew it. Pretty nuts. Also, the Geological Appraiser, just 2 spells when you cast it, no matter what. It's a 4-mana 3/2 and an additional spell. Really floods the board super quick. I guess we're slightly deeper into red in terms of the quantity of cards, but I think Clay-Fired Bricks, it's like 1 Clay-Fired Bricks is just as good as a Pickaxe plus an Idol. So it's kind of a coin flip here. I think we're just as deep into either of these archetypes. I think kind of want to grab just some really good late game value stuff to top things off with. I think having some really good craft with artifact cards like the Bricks and the Sawblades in a blue-white build could be really nice. I'm going to push towards blue-white over blue-red here today with a Spring-Loaded Sawblades, and pans out well for us, because pick 3 we get an Oltec Cloud Guard, white's best common, 4-mana 3/2 flyer, comes with a 1/1 gnome, really excellent card. The Inverted Iceberg is great as well, and I guess with how the draft pot is shaping, we could try to be full mono blue, but let's actually go for a 2-color deck here. Pick up the Cloud Guard, commit to our blue-white build. That's going to be very, very nice. And for pick 4, let's get a 5th copy of Oaken Siren. Generally don't really see why not. If all of our 2-mana creatures are Oaken Sirens, I'm perfectly happy with it. Pick number 5, get a Cogwork Wrestler for a 1-drop that can ruin combat math for our opponent, which is pretty great. The Puzzle Door is solid as well, just getting an artifact into your grave for your craft cards later. But let's grab the Wrestler. Alright, quick draft. Sure, we'll play 6 Oaken Sirens, and I guess a deck with 6 Oaken Sirens can actually just use Pirate Hat. Equips for only 1 mana. Sure, draws a card, discards a card every turn while attacking with the Vigilant Flyer. Why not at this point? Why not? Don't want to be mono blue goofball the deck, just because you don't really get to do that in Premier Draft or Traditional Draft, but we might be able to do it here. Because it's funny, it's neat. Just Oakensirens.deck. That's it. I kind of like it. Kind of like it. Definitely weaker than the blue-white build, so if we find more white playables, I'm still going to take them, but when it's just like mediocre white filler, I'll take some random blue cards so we have enough to maybe go full mono blue in the end. Okay. Yeah, these are not great. Random card for maybe mono blue. Puzzle Door is not a random card. This is actually great with craft with artifact cards later in the game. One of the best ways to get an artifact in your grave super early, too, so that your cheap ones like Lodestone Needle can flip a little faster. So I actually do like the Puzzle Door, even if we are on the blue-white. Shipwreck Sentry, which is probably fine when we have so many artifacts in here. I'll take another Waylaying Pirates, just because I don't think I'm going to have much room for more 2-drops. I already have 7 2-mana creatures. Alright, I'll play many Waylaying Pirates with so many Oaken Sirens. Okay, pack number 3. Nothing in blue and nothing in white. Ooh, really sad pack, actually. The only good card would be Goblin Tomb Raider towards blue-red, but we're off that at this point. Guess I'll still speculate on it if I get past Captain Storm. I imagine this Puzzle Door comes back to us, and I don't think we really need a ton of copies anyway. Pack 3, pick 2. You know I can't resist. You genuinely know. I cannot take the 7th Oaken Siren. It's just so stupid. Alright, pack 3, pick 3. Dustrose Reliquary is good enough to take the non-blue card here towards that blue-white craft deck, which is definitely where we're supposed to be. The better version of this deck. Now, pack 3, pick 4. Iceberg to flip late game is pretty nice. Aspirin to get a counter on one of the Sirens is pretty nice. I mean, 7 Sirens means we have so much mana for flipping Saw Blades, Clay-Fired Bricks, and Iceberg. I'm actually going to take the Iceberg here for the top end. Feels pretty excellent. Don't really think we're going to play any of these cards. Could rare draft something here, but I'd rather just take something that maybe we play like an Envoy, fills out the 3-mana slot. Probably cut it, but who knows. Alright, now removal that we're probably cutting, but who knows. Ooh, pick 7 Waterwind Scout. That's actually really good for this deck. Okay, this pack's bad. Let's get our 4th Zoyoa's Justice. Now, a whole lot of nothing. Take Glorifier of Suffering. I guess if we manage to establish a board state where we have a map token or something expendable, and we have 2 Oaken Sirens on board, putting a counter on 2 Oaken Sirens is something with the Glorifier of Suffering, but I don't think we have a lot of expendable cards to sacrifice to the Glorifier. That's the big problem we're having here. Well, maybe I just sack Cogwork Wrestlers then. I just find a multitude of those in the end. I don't think I'm playing double Pirate's Hat. Alright. So, blue-white artifacts. Blue-white craft, we can try to cheese out quick wins with Zoetic Glyphs on Oaken Sirens. That is incredibly consistent. But with 7 Oaken Sirens in the deck, we're also really good at hitting the big mana for these big craft with artifact spells. So I want to keep all those in this deck. Cut 3 cards here. I don't think we have great things to sacrifice to the Glorifier. I just don't think that works out super well. I think I need this many 4-drops. We can cut 1 Waylaying Pirates. Then we cut 1 more card, and no Oaken Siren is not an option. I forbid it. I guess with the Oaken Sirens tapping for mana for both of our 6-7 mana cards and one of our 4 mana flippers, doing pretty well on mana. We probably cut a land for the final. cut out of the deck. Yeah, the average is real low here. 16 blue cards. 8 white cards? Oh no, 18 blue cards and 6 white cards. So I think 9-7 looks pretty reasonable. Yeah, let's call it a deck here. All right, here's a look at our final deck list for today. This is a blue-white craft deck out of this quick draft with 7 Oaken Sirens, so they're the main card in the deck. With all these, we can slap a pirate hat onto them to get drawing and discarding cards consistently. We can flip a clay-fired bricks to buff them up late in the game, and they all tap for mana to help craft these big late-game artifacts like clay-fired bricks and inverted icebergs, so that's sweet. We're pretty much always going to have artifacts on board to stun things with the waylaying pirates, and maybe we can do some exploring to get some counters on them with the consistency of the Guidestone Compass letting us explore every single turn, or the Water Wind Scout letting us do it one time. So a lot of ways to play around with these Oaken Sirens. Should be a lot of fun, but we're going to call it a deck there and see how it does as we head into gameplay. Here we are for game 1 with our opponent on the play. We've got the Oaken Siren Zoetic Glyph combo to roll out with, so we're going to keep the hand. Try to jam in with those for some big damage. Nothing to sack to the Reliquary, that's going to be awkward. But now we found a spring-loaded Saw Blades for some better removal. It's going to be the blue-white mirror match here. Probably expect a lot of that. I don't feel like the bots are probably drafting the strongest colors in the format highly enough, but we'll see. There's a Cogwork Wrestler, which is an awesome option to sacrifice to the Dusk Rose Reliquary later in the game. Alright, opponent takes 5 from the Oaken Siren, and we're 1/4 of the way there. 3 more hits and we've done it. So there's the Oltec Cloud Guard for another blocker from our opponent. Pass turn. Clay-fired bricks for us. With the Cogwork Wrestler, we're free to attack in here. And thanks to Oaken Siren tapping for artifact mana, we can play the bricks and the Siren and attack in. That'll make it less obvious that we have a Cogwork Wrestler here, because it can look like we're tapped out. At least land-wise. Alright, no blocks though, they are smart about it. A Call first among equals, a really good card draw engine for our opponent as long as they're consistently getting more artifacts onto their board. Find a Lodestone Needle, not a bad draw at all. Don't really need it right now with a Cogwork Wrestler at the ready. Oh, we can flash that in during our opponent's end step. Eaten by Piranhas. Turn the Siren into a 1/1 with no abilities. Cannot stop that from happening. I think because this goes onto the Siren after the Zoetic Glyph. The Zoetic Glyph doesn't even trigger the Discover anymore, which is super gross. I mean, I guess we'll see. I don't even think we Discover. Oh, wait, what the heck? The glyph falls off. Oh, because it's no longer an artifact creature. Okay, so the glyph falls off, so the glyph discovers now, and then we're just attacking with a 1/1. Okay, so we do still discover. All right, that was really weird. All right, and they'll take the trade here. There. I mean, I guess I can Wrestler. They're at 10 life here. I can Wrestler and I still have Saw Blades and Lodestone Needle. I could sack a creature to Duskrose Reliquary? Yeah, let's Wrestler. Then I can sack the Siren to the Duskrose Reliquary to get rid of their card draw engine. Which feels pretty valuable. And then I also have an artifact in my grave to craft with later, which is definitely pretty valuable. Now we have 3 different, like, pseudo-removal spells. I mean, 2 of them are just straight-up removal. Cosmium Blast and Saw Blades will just kill a flyer. But the Lodestone Needle can stun one for a little while, and then start putting +1/+1 counters on our Oaken Siren. Trying to get those last 10 points of damage in. Alright, a land from our opponent. They have a cave they can discover with, and another one they can use to pull out a man of any color. And they're going to crack that one. Find another plains with it. Use their map token on the Cloud Guard. I can't kill that in response to stop them from exploring. They find a Tinker's Tote, and they leave it on top of their deck. Drop an Iron Pot Aspirant. Buff the Waterwind Scout, going wide with their threats rather than stacking it all onto one thing. And they're going to pass turn. Let's... I guess with the Cosmium Blast in hand, do we actually needle the smaller one? No, I think I still needle the Cloud Guard. Another Oaken Siren. Just start exploring every turn. Find a Pirate Hat to buff our Oaken Siren. I'm going to cast another one or hold up a Saw Blades. I'm at 22. Let's just cast the other one. That Pirate Hat gets our first Oaken Siren up to 3/4 stats, which can attack into their Waterwind Scout, which is pretty awesome. And because these both have Vigilance, if I draw and discard an artifact, or I just mill an artifact off and explore at some point, we'll have the artifact in grave to flip the clay-fired bricks and buff all of our creatures, which could be pretty awesome. Ooh, spring-loaded Saw Blades, kill one of our Sirens. Yeah, still got another one and plenty ways to buff it up. And plenty more in the deck. So I think we'll be fine here. So... I need 2 mana up for Saw Blades, but Siren provides 1 of that 2 mana. So I can just tap out for all this stuff on Siren pre-combat. Explore a Cogwork Wrestler. Got another artifact engraved because they killed that Oaken Siren, so I already have the craft fodder. But I guess I don't really want to draw the Cogwork Wrestler when this is already a 3/4, do I? Probably not. I guess since I'm going to draw a card, discard, I could have kept it there to discard that. It's probably silly, but I'm going to discard the Cosmium Blast to keep another Oaken Siren. I'm just going to do what the deck does. And we're gonna Saw Blades that Cloud Guard once it loses its last counter. Just keep playing Oaken Sirens. 1, 2, 3, 4 Oaken Sirens cast this game, and the Guidestone Compass going wild. Well, if they didn't draw anything here, they can craft their 5/5 vehicle, or they can discover 4 off of their cave. They are going to discover 4, spin that roulette wheel, and find a clay-fired bricks, which is a huge one. That's their 6th out of 7 mana towards flipping it. There's our friend right there. I think I have to spend the turn clearing out the Cloud Guard and casting another Oaken Siren, rather than flipping bricks yet. Sure, I'll draw and discard that instead of just milling myself out fully here. Sirens their Cloud Guard, or Saw Blades their Cloud Guard, and slam down an Oaken Siren. Pass from there. They're at 7 now. There's their 7th mana to flip their own bricks. So they've got 1 4/4 flyer to block with. Now we make ours a 4/5. Goodbye, Old Tech Cloud Guard. So they have something like a Malamet War Scribe that buffs their entire board. That could be their biggest way to try to win the game from here on. If they don't have something like that, feel like we're pretty firmly in the lead here, almost definitely finding lethal. Yeah, they're currently dead on board. I have to have some kind of trick here. With their last card in hand. And they're just going to concede there, so they do not have the trick, and we'll start things off 1-0. Really good game for us. I mean, I think the game would have gone way differently if we didn't have that Guidestone Compass. So that was like the MVP, the card of the game. But really solid stuff overall. As we head into game 2. Here we are now for game number 2 on the draw. Siren into Scout, into Saw Blades and Waylaying Pirates, whatever we want to do there. Blue-white mirror match it is. Turn 2 Oaken Siren for everybody. But we're on the draw, so we are naturally a little behind here. If we have the exact same hand, then they win because they're on the play. So hopefully we don't keep mirroring each other the whole game. Alright, creating minecart is definitely something different. Drop the Waterwind Scout. That is big enough to block the Oaken Siren, so they just crew the cart and send that in. But we can also spend the mana for the map token here. Pretend I have an insane trick for 1 blue mana. Highly doubt they let it in, but might as well. There's nothing they can have that'll kill the Siren out of nowhere here. I don't love that as a draw. Both 6 lands in hand, I probably do keep it anyway. To guarantee I have some more action, some more stuff to play here coming up. There's a River Herald Scout that will crew the minecart, and it also explores a shipwreck sentry that they keep on the top. Through the minecart. Jam in and get their treasure. Obviously, no blocks here. 4 mana up, which is concerning. Atali's favors the play, and they discover that shipwreck sentry. Very nice. So let's just Waylaying Pirates their only flyer now. Beat down for 4 a turn. If you want to Cogwork Wrestler without killing something, you can. They do not. Crew with the Scout rather than the Defender, which is kind of interesting. I'm gonna not block here. It plays a lot better if they have Cogwork Wrestler, and it also gives us some potential counterattacks with our Waylaying Pirates to get extra damage in. But I suppose it trades into the Sentry. It's fine. So now we want to Saw Blades the Oaken Siren to keep them off of flyers. Use our last 3 mana either casting another Oaken Siren or playing an Envoy on the ground. I feel like I definitely could use another 3/3 on the ground to outrace them here. So let's go Sawblade's Envoy, I think. Diamond Pickaxe. They have 1 card left in their hand here. Probably eventually have to stop playing around Cogwork Gnome, and this might be the turn. It'll make it so if they have it, it's super bad for me, but any combat trick is going to be super bad for me, so we'll see. Here we go. No combat trick. Alright, this is reasonable. Blade Master, though, a 4/4 on the ground. Did I get an artifact in my grave by doing that? No, I didn't. That's really bad. I need to be able to flip this and crew it. I can't. So they die in 3 swings, and we get to attack right now. We die in 2 swings, though. We have to get some chumps in here. I guess they die in 3 swings, even if I just use this Oaken Siren to flip my Saw Blades. And that gives me a 5/5 blocker. Not exactly happy about it, but if they miss removal on their next couple draws, it will win us the game, and it's the best bet. We don't have other options. With the ways that we have drawn here. So they missed, but they have 2 caves on the board to hit something guaranteed. Find a 3/3 defender. Super happy to see that. I guess it crews the minecart though, so they still have 3 attackers, and I only killed 1. Although they probably move the pickaxe to the Blade Master, so they threaten a trade here and then don't attack anywhere else. Which holds off some damage for the turn, which is still really good. Yeah. Just take 0 damage this turn, and they have 1 turn to find something that can block or kill these flyers, or we will win the game, because they don't lethal us next turn. Okay. They have 2 draws to get there, and that is a really bad draw. They get to draw 1 card off the top and 1 card off the Discover, and it has to be a flyer or a removal spell. Or that will be the game for us. So let's see what they hit on their 2 spins of that roulette wheel. The draw is a land. And the guaranteed non-land off of the Discover is a River Herald Scout on the ground. That is going to be lethal in the sky for our second victory of the draft. Unfortunately, Lodestone Needle, their literal next card. If those had just been ordered in the other way, they would likely be winning this game with the stun. To be able to get 2 swings in a row, because we only hit with 1 of these next turn, yeah. Rough stuff for our opponents. But we will take it. We are 2-0 heading into Game 3. Here we are now for Game 3. You got the Oak and Siren Dream Team. Just to start rolling out. Our turn 3, we get to play an Oak and Siren and an Iceberg in the same turn off of the mana provided by the Sirens. We get to flip this Iceberg super early as well if the Sirens are not dealt with. So blue-green from our opponents, and it is going to be a full-on Explore deck starting off with a Nikonzeal, Current Conductor. Could rip that off the board immediately to slow down their double Explore nonsense. But I'd have to sack the Iceberg to do it, and I don't think that's super worth it when I can just Saw Blades that later, most likely. Later being, like, literally next turn, I think. They probably attack with it. When I just have a 1/2 up and no mana. Well, that's not a great mill, but at least it's an artifact. But the Guidestone Compass is like one of the best cards for us to have on board in a deck that has 7 copies of Oak and Siren, so we're really not happy to have that in our grave. But again, we have 2 cards that craft with Artifact in our hand right now, so being able to just exile something in grave to do that is nice. Right, well, great value for our opponent. They blunder back our Siren, get a map token, explore with it to get another land on the board, and they are just rampant like nobody's business. So here I can Oak and Siren and Sawblades and have a Wrestler up? I don't think there's any point in having a Wrestler up, but I can. I don't have to tap the Oaken Siren. Let me just do this. Then if they don't have more removal, we just chip in for 2 and put a 6/6 Iceberg on the board next turn. I guess. 5 mana and nothing. Probably some kind of weird defensive spell here, some kind of instant. If they had anything they could cast during their turn, I imagine they would have done it. Can't be a counter spell here because you can't counter a craft. But maybe it's removal to blow up the 6/6. I could see that. Malcolm it is. Makes sense. 2/1 Flash Flyer. My Oaken Sirens can just block that, so we're fine. Blunder the tapped Siren. Kind of interesting. I guess they really want the map token. I was gonna say, Malcolm has a good ability if it manages to deal combat damage to me. I guess, yeah, they get Explorers and map tokens to try to put +1/+1 counters on Malcolm, so that we're not even threatening to kill Malcolm on the blocks here. Scry to the bottom, still hit a land. And here's the map token trying to get a counter on Malcolm. Scry to the bottom, hit a non-land, hit an Earthshaker Dreadmaw, which is a great one. They only have 1 green source on board right now. But Twists and Turns, ew, make my Titan a 1/1, that's gross. Twists and Turns will, stop all the damage here, yeah. Twists and Turns will turn into a green source once they have 7 mana on board, so they should be able to cast that Dreadmaw soon. Is it wrong to want to Reliquary this Malcolm instead of having the Reliquary to kill a Dreadmaw later? Probably. But I mean, I can deal with a Dreadmaw. If it's their only dino, I can block with a 5/5 and a 1/2. And if they don't have a green source in hand, they don't even play the Dreadmaw next turn. I'm just gonna kill Malcolm. Alright, crack the Cataract. They don't have the next green source. They discover a 3/1 that explores when it hits the board. So they get to scry and then explore, looking for the next green source. Or just good playable spells. That is small enough our Chariot can jam in as a 5/5 against a 4/2 maximum. Scry to the bottom, draw the forest. Okay. Well, since they did not get a non-land, I can actually attack in with the Cogwork Wrestler here. For 1 extra point of damage. Because it threatens to trade. Put them down to 5. with 3 1-power flyers on board, that kills them in 2 swings, even if they just slam down a 6/6 trampler for the turn. Send in that 3/1 vigilance, you got it. Down to 15. And they slam down the Dreadmaw. They're dead in 2 attacks in the sky here. They draw 0 off casting that. You get to flip the twists and turns. These draws are pretty bad, but we're winning on board, so we don't need great draws if they don't find something. They're just going to concede. All right, and that is 3-0 heading into game number 4. Here we are for game 4 with the Dream Team, Oaken Siren, and the Lodestone Needle. More importantly, the Guidestone Compass to start buffing up our 7 copies of Oaken Siren. A definite keep here. And we go Island and pass. Here's that turn 2 Oaken Siren. There's the dead weight for it, pretty sad. I'm just dropping Envoy turn 3 then. But on the plus side, Oaken Siren being in grave means we have that graveyard craft fodder for the Envoy. Or for the Lodestone Needle. Jam on in. Drop a 3/3 with no enter the battlefield effect, just because it holds the Wanderglyph off if they have no combat tricks or removal to back it up. There you go. There is the aura to back it up. Tali's favorite, great card, and it discovers a Join the Dead. Absolutely disgusting. What a swing in our opponent's favor there. That is an excellent turn. Probably about as good as you could get on that roulette spin. With the Wrestler in hand, we're just not going to block here if they send in. Yeah, now we have Wrestler or Cosmium Blast up. Oh, that is a very weird choice from our opponent. They don't want to do the attack, but they do want to declare the block? Okay. I mean, I'll take it. That works pretty great for us. Get the kill off the Cogwork Wrestler without even having to worry about them having a bunch of untapped mana to have their own tricks of any kind. Flip this needle and just start exploring all the time. I like it. I like exploring. Even if I don't have a Siren yet. I've got 6 more to draw into. And we can just buff our little 1/2s and stuff right now. Which is still good. There's the Sirens, baby. Guidestone Compass MVP. There's a Mephitic draft from our opponent. They draw a card, lose a life. They're down to 11, taking 5 on the ground here if they can't get a creature out, and they're not getting a creature out. I'm going to explore again. If I hit a land, I can still cast 4 mana worth of things. If I don't, we just Siren it up. A Braided Cogwork Wrestler to stop the Explorer. I think that's still pretty good value for me, all things considered. Perfectly happy with that. There's a Tithing Blade to make me sack a creature. With our opponent at 8. I actually think I sack the Siren, sadly. Because we're threatening to hit for 4 and have their life total next turn. Which is massive. Stun the Skull Taker, get another threat on this board, or do I just explore and Sawblades it, or do I Iceberg and Sawblades it? Let's Iceberg and Sawblades it. If it's a land on top, then I can Iceberg, Sawblades, and explore. Or if it's a land second from the top, I guess, because I mill and then draw. But it was a land, which is great. Come on, 4 damage. Oh, the luck is so good here. Yeah, we'll mill that Wrestler. They're down to 4. We're back on the slot machine, and we are hitting 7s. I mean, 7's a lucky number, and 7 is the number of sirens in this deck, which is kind of perfect. This is literally the slot machine deck, the lucky 7s. We are 4-0 now with this silly pile, by the way, which means no matter what happens from here, that is a positive win rate, more wins than losses in the mythic tier queues. Really nice stuff from the deck, but we'll see if we can keep it up as we head into Game 5. Game 5, here we are. I don't know, this might be a mulligan. Probably not though, right? I mean, you just roll out and you just see what your opponent does. It has really low stat lines, a bunch of 1-2s, but it's so irresistible. Oaken Siren turn 1, 2 Oaken Sirens next turn, and then an Oaken Siren and an Envoy the turn after that. I mean, come on. Unbeatable curves. Unbeatable curves. Get on out there, Dream Team. It's 3 damage a turn that they can't do anything about right now. They're blue-white though, so they should have plenty of good value flyers. And if they literally just have the 3-mana 2/2 that makes a map token, that just stops all of the Oaken Sirens from getting in. But they don't have a flyer yet. They don't have one for 3 mana or less. Scry to the top off the Sunscribe means they're probably drawing into one, but we'll find out. I'm playing the Oaken Siren first because it's funnier. I wonder what's going on in our opponent's head. There's like, what is going on? Why are you the way that you are, Goblet? I don't know, opponent. I don't know. Been asking myself that question for years. They've got 4 mana up now. They scried into something they wanted off the Sunscribe. It's a Gem Guard. Well, that doesn't do anything about the 4 damage they're taking every single turn. Does threaten to race pretty well. Although I can just keep making a 1/1 and chumping it every turn. Actually, Envoy's kind of perfect here. We send in the Siren Squad and keep chumping with a Gnome. Yep. You know, if I mill an artifact here, I can actually flip this Iceberg the turn I play it because I have so much Siren mana. Okay, I didn't mill an artifact. I could still flip this, sacking a Siren. I think I'd rather make a Gnome and maybe flip it with that next turn. They're dead in 3 flying swings. Nope, 4 flying swings. Clay-fired bricks gives them a couple points of life. Tinker's Tote gives them 3 more points of life and 2 more 1/1s to get buffed up by the bricks later. To be going for those races on the ground. That is scary. Gem Guard's a 5/5. Once it's a 6/6, I have no blocks that kill it. Actually, it has to be a 7/7, because I can make a 1/1 and block it with literally everybody. Not that that's super profitable for me, but I can do it. I mean, they kill Envoy, a Siren, and a 1/1. That's not terrible. Or they kill 2 Sirens and a 1/1. Yeah, killing 2 Sirens and a 1/1 does make me pretty dang sad. It's pretty bold to just keep all the Sirens and try to keep winning off that, though, at this point, with how wide their board is with that bricks coming up in a couple turns, maybe. plus the tote life gain. Get bold here. I'm keeping the sirens. Siren squad will never stop. Otaclan landmark. No! It's their first flyer. Flip that thing into a 1/4, and they're stopping one siren every turn. If they flip that and the bricks, then that'll be a 2/5 flyer, and that is terrible for us. Scrying 2 to the top here. I guess Iceberg Titan can tap something down when it sends in. So just using that on a pivotal turn to tap one of their flying blockers just to get another Oaken Siren in could be a thing. Yeah, Grimguard's getting insane. Definitely have to do some chump blocking. But if we don't hit any more spells, Envoy can keep providing us with a chump blocker every turn. For now, Titan Wrestler is a really reasonable block here. I'm gonna try it. See what instance they've got in their hand. I don't think I stack anybody else into this block, because then if they don't have a combat trick, they just get to kill more of my stuff. Brackish Blender? Alright, that's not bad for me, because I draw another card and just flip my 6/6 anyway. And even without the trick, I would have just chump blocked with Wrestler against the 7 damage. Yeah, not horrible at all. Not horrible at all. With 4 Sirens on board, we've got the mana to redo this Iceberg, and now we have the Wrestler engraved to craft it. They, however, do not have the mana to flip their landmark right now, which is sick for us. Probably tapping 2 of these Sirens to play the Iceberg, so that if we draw into a non-artifact card, we have more options of how we want to spend our mana. Mill a Zoetic Glyph and hit the land. Ooh, that's the wrong order, roulette wheel. Well. Zoetic Glyph would have been straight game ending, making one of these Sirens a 5/4. Alright, craft that landmark. Now they're just taking 3 in the sky every turn. I'd say we have to be worried about saving flying chump blockers, because now they can attack and send another flyer in. But all of our Sirens have Vigilance anyway, so we're not really concerned on that front. It's mainly just they're on a 3-turn clock here. I guess they were on a 3-turn clock anyway. 4 damage and then 4 damage puts them to 1. It takes another 4 to kill them. This way it's 3 damage, then 3 damage, then 3 damage, which is still a 3-turn kill. I throw Iceberg and Envoy here, force them to have another trick. Or do I just take it? Blue and white, what could they have to kill me? Nothing popular. There's the +1/+3 untapped. There's the make something a 4/3 at base stats. Neither of those are big enough to kill me. I think I just take it and go to 2 so I can actually make 1/1s on future blocks. Maybe I jump with a siren. Oh, hello. Oh, but I somehow have I have 1 plains and 7 islands, so I can't just make a 1/1 to sack here, which is gross. God, that is really sad. Actually. So we can kill them in 2 more attacks. I need to survive 2 attacks of theirs, but they shouldn't have a way to give trample. They have 5 attackers. We have 4, 5, 6, 7 blockers if I just hold up the envoy. I can obviously reliquary the gem guard. I feel like it's better to just trump it with a 1/1 than have to sacrifice something real on my board. Just hope to draw another artifact or another white source to Duskrow's next turn. I think that's where we're at. Well, that's an insane card. Gets super massive and flying. They have to tap more cards than they do for the gem guard, though, at least, so probably don't get to do too much of that. Bold attack here. So they're going to force an Oaken Siren chump here this way, but leave no flyers up. Okay. Chart a course to draw 2. I guess, thankfully, since they did that, we actually do get to reliquary away a gnome, since we didn't have to chump with the gnome here. And we have their life total, because their flyer is tapped. So we kill them in 2 swings. Unless they buff this Warden to flying stats, which takes 3 counters. Which means they have to tap 9 permanents, and that's a sorcery speed ability. Nether Plains is, I mean, it's the best land we can draw. It's not a particularly great draw, but it's the best land we could. Sure. Saw blades plus 1/1 block here. Sure. Not the end of the world. The problem is now if I want to lock in lethal next turn, I have to kill the Levitator. Because if I still had the 6/6 around, I could just tap their flying blocker when I attacked with it. So we Dusk Rose the Levitator. They're down to 4 attackers. All of them are on the ground. Nothing to block the Sirens here. They hit 1 mana, they flip their clay-fired bricks. Everybody gets +1/+1, but I can block 3 things? I have to block 4 to not die, though. Shoot. So I have to top deck something if they flip the clay-fired bricks. Otherwise, I hit them for 2. Well, no, I could block in a way where the Envoy survives, because I'd have Envoy block a 2/3. Yeah, and then I crack back with the Envoy when they are tapped out. No, because they get 2 more blockers on the ground. Oh, snap. But he's gotta still just be Reliquary the Levitator, right? I could Reliquary the bricks, but I'm not threatening lethal next turn if I do that. Also losing more creatures on blocks. I think we have to find some kind of follow-up here. We gotta stop hitting lands. Let's see. Because just land, flip bricks, attack all is really solid for our opponent. Because I can't let a single creature hit me. Actually, I have to lose 2 Sirens, actually. It's terrible. Oh my god, they don't have the flip bricks. They go for a Zoetic Glyph here. And that's still not good, because it's basically a haste threat. Send in Sawblade, send in Gem Guard, send in Sunscribe. Forces a chump with one of the Sirens. So that I don't lethal them on the crackback. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Glyph is still pretty good. God dang it. Yeah, I have to top deck something. We're doing that here. Looking for Pirate Hat, Lodestone Needle, Waterwind Scout. There are a few outs. Puzzle Door searches for them. It's not an out. Dang it. Or 1 mana from flipping the bricks, in which case I just have to quadruple chump. They somehow can't flip the bricks again. I guess I get to have 1 block going. Oh, wow. Just have a counterspell in this format? In this economy? Alright, well, just flooded a little too hard in the end. We just needed one extra point of damage. So close. Brutal, brutal ending there. But that'll be our first loss of the day. At 4-1. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 6. We've got the Oaken Siren, we keep the hand. The puzzle door searches for the white source for the bricks. Then the bricks find the second white source to flip it later. Bloodthorn Flail, turn 1 from our opponent. Well, now we just naturally find the white source, which is solid. Now we can puzzle door something decent. Tithing Blade, my siren. No! I only have 6 more. Bricks plus puzzle door here. Feel like Saw Blades being a 2-for-1 means I take that over the siren here. There's a Tinker's Tote. 1-for-1 removal, pretty bad against wide boards like that. Alright, Pirates isn't doing much right now, so I'll just go for the Siren. I guess they can flail up a gnome here, which is cute. Swamp Cycle, a Spiketail. Slam down a Sunscribe. Tapped out, so no attacks for them. Find a Cloud Guard. I can play a Cloud Guard and still have Saw Blades up thanks to Oaken Siren tapping for artifacts, so I will absolutely do that. Next turn I can flip the Clay-Fired Bricks and have a lot of damage hitting in the sky as well as a wide board on the ground. Oh yeah, flipping the bricks next turn is going to be really nice. Visage of Dread. Okay. Annoying, but okay. Discard whatever you want. It's not the end of the world. The Saw Blades is gone. Discard another tote to equip the Sunscribe? That is surprising. I'm pretty fine with that. Alright, well, we know what we're doing here. Hit for just as much damage, whatever order I do this in. So I'm just going to get the bricks out of the way. I guess this way I threaten to hit harder by having a 2/2 gnome attacking it as well. Alright, cool. Clearing out a lot of their board. They just have the Sunscribe left. We've got 6 power in the sky to just keep jamming with, and a Pirates to stun their first blocker in the sky. The Defossilize for the Spiketail, which is solid, but it doesn't do anything in the sky. So we'll keep getting in for 6 a turn. But it does mean the Sunscribe gets a free attack here. I cannot try to trade my gnomes into it. So we go down to 12, which is some damage for sure. I think we're still definitely winning the race a bit, with multiple chump blockers at the ready. 6 a turn in the sky right now. Scry to the bottom for our opponent. Okay, Cosmium Blast. Maybe Pirate stun the Spike Tail to hit for 4 more was pretty reasonable there, but I really like variance way too much. I want to see if I draw something that changes my line. Yeah, no, that doesn't change the line. Well, I mean, I guess I just flipped the Iceberg, actually. Yeah, no, that's pretty reasonable. And then I still have the Pirates for later. They have no creatures in their grave for crafting any of these right now. The Visage of Dread into the Osteosaur, or the Tithing Blade into the Consuming Sepulcher. So they tap 5 mana, they undo it. Kind of looked like they were trying to flip the blade, but they can't right now with no creatures in their grave. Yeah, they have to just cast something from hand here right now. Yeah, I think they were probably trying to flip some of their stuff, but they just don't have the creatures engraved to do it, so they are going to concede in the end. We are now 5-1, heading into game number 7. All right, here we are for game 7. Opponent is on the play. Kind of a slower hand. I think we still keep it, though. Puzzle Door's going to find us one of our sirens. I can feel it. I guess the issue is it finds a siren and then we can't afford to cast it yet anyway. And still do this. Oh, and it doesn't find a siren. I already have 4 mana and there's nothing that costs more than 4 in this hand, so let's take the Reliquary. I know you're in there. My Magnificent 7. So Waterwind Scout from our opponent now. Probably Envoy into Cloudguard and then start dealing with their stuff. We did find our Oaken Sirens too late though. And there's the Tithing Blade for the Envoy. Guess I probably would rather have an Envoy die to the Tithing Blade than a Oaken Siren by a tiny bit, though. Yeah, this is bad. One of our slower hands. We didn't start things till turn 3. We're also on the draw, and they're on a great grindy archetype. They're about to flip a 6/6. They've got cards like the 2-for-1 removal of Chupacabra Echo. I am not liking how things are currently looking. Plenty of instant speed interaction here to ruin whatever kind of nonsense block they're going for here. So we Wrestler, and then in response to their play, we just blast the Scout anyway. That's sick. That's actually awesome. Alright, well, here's Oaken Siren, and we're going to buff it up with Lodestone Needle over time. Have that be our win con. We've got the Reliquary for their 6/6. Ooh, another chance is insane value here, being able to pick up that Merfolk Scout in a 6-drop. Oh god, yeah, and the Chupacabra Echo. Completely filthy. Probably game ending, but we'll see. Yeah, this thing just hits the board and kills my Siren. 4 permanents in their grave. Chupacabra, another chance is nasty. Don't really have anything I can do about it. No good attacks here, no good place to use the Reliquary, not even a good place to use the Lodestone Needle, but I guess I could craft it and get an Explore at least immediately. And then since they're going to Chupacabra the Oaken Siren, we actually craft onto the Wrestler. Maybe have a 2-3 attacker. We do not. Explore onto their own Wrestler. They also find a land. I think Guidestone Compass is like our best bet for a grindy matchup like this, so we're happy to have it, but it's still not looking super hot. Ooh. Hold the phone. 1 and a black. They could have the uncommon instant speed removal spell. That's the only thing they could have here, though, to ruin this. Zoetic Glyph. I'm gonna go for it. Sick. 6. They've got 4 toughness. If I can explore onto this thing, we're doing great. Awesome. And we find an Oaken Siren, which is a great card to explore onto. We're gonna crack that Promising Vein. Chump. Seems cool with me. Grasping Shadows. Get a Death Touch lifelinking attack every turn. Gain some life. Pretty annoying. I trade 1 Wrestler into the Echo here, and they only gain 1 instead of 3, which is nice. Unless they have their own trick. Another Wrestler of their own. That does not look to be the case. Brood Rage Mycoid with a Fungus, and now they get to attack for 4, gain 4 next turn off that thing. Unless I exile it, in which case I don't have removal for their 6/6 that they could then threaten to start gaining 6 a turn off of with this Grasping Shadows. And this cannot exile enchantments. So I think I just hold this off for their Iceberg flip. Yep. Gain 4. And now they have the 6/6. Try to get Death Touch lifelink attacks with. I want to exile it pre-combat, or am I okay with a trade? With Compass on board, I think I'm actually okay with a trade. Okay, take all the damage. Here's our Siren. Compass the Siren. Another 2/3. I'll take it. I actually really want to draw another Wrestler, though. Alright, they get one more lifelink swing. They gain another 4, go to 15, but then all of our damage is actually going to stack up. I guess they could crack the Captivating Cave to make the Mycoid a 6-5, actually. So they can gain 6 on this attack. I didn't really notice the Captivating Cave. Use it on the Water Wind Scout, though. Yeah, give them better flying blocks, but it does mean they gain less life this turn. So I don't hate it. Ooh, the Waterlogged Hulk. Probably dying to that. They have 8 permanents in their grave, so this turns into an unblockable Vigilant Vehicle. 4 damage a turn, I just can't stop no matter what. Yikes. I guess I should have been sandbagging lands at this point, seeing I am playing against black. Skullcap Snail has fallen so far out of favor lately, though, that I'm so not used to seeing it. I just kind of forgot about its existence. It's actually been like 30 games since I played against a Skullcap Snail. I don't actually think this Waterwind Scout is too great for my opponent. For this Waterwind Scout attack. Trade into 1, 2, 3. I guess they get a 1-1 though, since they descended when they do that. Another Oaken Siren. Yeah, we're super dead to the unblockable. Gondola guaranteeing 4 damage. They just need to get 2 creatures in and we're dead. They've got a wide enough board state to do it. So it does not matter what we do. We're very dead. Guess we can at least see what we would have drawn here. Waylaying Pirates next turn. Alright. Maybe if we had held the land after the Explorer, then we would have had a kill on the Brood Rage, taken 4 less damage, been at 10 right now, with 2 blockers. They'd also have 1 less attacker, because they'd have 1 less fungus, so they crew that. Yeah, we probably would have won the game if we just played around the Skullcap Snail. We just forgot to do that with the Explorer. I'm so used to all the targeted discard that I was just forgetting about the things that can just make me discard 1 card, period. I'm tapped out, and I'm dead on board. But I get another turn to live here? I guess I appreciate that. So we trump block the Mycoid, and if their last card in hand, or their draw off of Shadow's Lair and Necropolis is not another blocker, then we win off of Waylaying Pirates stunning their 1 blocker. It's our only shot. Alright, it's a blocker, so we do not win. Well, at least there's some punting to go around. I had no cards in hand, and I'm dead on board. Opponent gave us another turn to live. Even if I stun the unblockable Gondola, they just attack with everything and kill me here when I have 3 blockers against 6 attackers. Really doesn't matter. We're gonna be 1 damage from lethal here if I have a non-land card on top, which is super annoying. I guess they could crew the gondola for blocks here if they want. I have no cards in hand, so they don't need to at all. Okay. I'd be super surprised to see it block, but we'll find out. Yikes. I was hoping for the counter, that way we'd deal 4 and they might tap the Shadows layer. Punch out of it here. It would give them the opportunity to accidentally shoot themselves for lethal. Would be good. Okay. Well, really unfortunate. Just not playing around the skullcap snail is all it takes to cost us the game there. Because we got so close, I think we 100% would have won if we had the deal 5 removal up. Is what it is. Five and 2, heading into game 8. Oh, double mulligan. Opponent mulls and we mull to start the game off. Hand's fine. Turn 2 Siren, turn 4 Cloud Guard. Puzzle door, turn 1 from our opponent. They are on the play here. Play the Siren first because it helps pay for the Iceberg, which lets us play Iceberg and Blast on turn 3 if we need to. And I'd be super okay with blasting their Siren. Mirror match, but we're on the draw here, maybe? 5,000 Oaken Siren deck. Alright, dig through the deck with a puzzle door. Mill an island to draw a card. Blue-red. This could be terrible for us. Because blue-red has some really explosive cards, like Captain Storm, putting a +1/+1 counter on their board. Uh-oh, double Atali's favor here for more damage. And more exploring to just dump stuff onto the board. Ew, mill a Waterwind Scout. Draw an Oaken Siren. I think I'm actually just holding up Cosmium Blast to shoot their Siren right now. Oh my god. Oh, that has to be... Thank god that has to be cast on an attacking creature. Oh, if they could have cast that off the Discover, they would make either creature they put it on out of reach of Cosmium Blast, then it would hit me and blow up my Siren, as well as dealing extra damage. That is so gross. So gross, in fact, I might have to just hold up the Cosmium Blast here to try to blast whatever they try to put higher on next turn. So we pretend we were just wrestlering it up. And save the blast for against that Dreadmaw's ire. Which means we can Oaken Siren hold up blast now. River Herald Scout again. Magmatic Galleon? I live in fear. This deck is explosive. They mill the Galleon because they are stuck on 3 mana. That's fair enough. I mean, they're only 1 red source away from... Only 1 red source away from actually casting the Galleon because of the Oaken Siren. God dang it, we're such a rock and a hard place here where it's like, if I tap out, they just Dreadmaw's Ire us and destroy us, but if I don't tap out, then they can just keep casting their hand, and then I'm locking myself out of mana. I'm losing value. I basically never block well, unless I have a Cosmium Blast up, which I can't have while playing a spell this turn. I am one land away from playing a 4-drop and holding up Blast, or using Iceberg and holding up a Blast. So there's that. But for now, I guess I actually just don't hold up Blast for a turn. Go for the Cloud Guard here. The Abrade for the Cloud Guard. They don't have the red source up here, which is something. Means we get the kill there, I guess. Stop them from doing their card draw stuff. But we're just way too far behind on the draw against all these Atali's discoveries. I mean, moment of truth here. Now we can Pirates and hold up the Blast, which I think is a little bit of a better defensive play than flip the Iceberg, hold up the Blast. This is the point of potential stabilization. It's all determined right here. Goblin Tomb Raider. Lodestone Needle down. Oh my lord. And they still have the Dreadmaw's Ire, and we're at 6. Yeah, there's no shot. It's just not a game of Magic. Like, maybe we had slightly better lines, but the only lines we had available were all just terrible against a revealed Dreadmaw's Ire. We either get completely destroyed by it, or we're not mana efficient so that we try to avoid it. And either way, we're firmly losing the game. Even if this was hidden information, and I just played as if it didn't exist, we would have been absolutely crushed this game. Yep. Man, we're pretty dang dead. I guess I can at least do this and just lose. One creature. And our opponent probably just doesn't cast Dreadmaw's Ire right now because they have no reason to do so. They're already putting me down to 1 with 5 power of trample on the board. So they can just save Dreadmaw's Ire in case I have a Cosmium Blast. It's just free extra damage for them. They are gonna go for it though. Fair enough. Still get in for the 5. Down to 1. Have to chump the Oaken Siren now. Block, chump, chump with this. If they don't draw into something, this survives. I guess this does mean if they have a non-land on top, they win. God, of course. They've drawn so few lands this game, and they still have a non-land for the lethal there. God dang it. We could have not played the Oaken Siren, so we wouldn't be just dead here, but we still are just chumping with a Siren for the turn, so it's still a firmly losing game. That was a brutal one. I don't think there was much counterplay to be had there. Not that we found the best lines. Just an unstoppable rollout like Lost Caverns of Ixalan is known for at times. So 5-3 it is. A little bit of a disappointing ending because we did get so many wins in a row early, which looked like we could be heading to a 7-win run. But a 5-3 in the Mythic tier is still a very, very solid record. Unfortunately, in Quick Draft, that is not breaking even or in the money, which is why I'm not a huge fan of Quick Draft. Not only that, but I feel like the Quick Draft format is not super representative of how decks should actually be getting drafted and played, as compared to Premier Drafts, just player drafts where things can be self-correcting and no one in the draft pod should end up with silly 7 Oaken Siren piles. So Quick Draft is kind of the Wild West where people do end up with some absolutely insane decks like this that look really weird, funky, and just absolute insanity, and you can end up with way more egregiously powerful decks than you would end up with in player drafts as well, like blue-black with like 3 Ravenous Chupacabras and 2 of the ways to bring it back from grave to the battlefield, stuff like that. Just some complete nonsense in Quick Draft, but it is fun to take a peek back at the format, get a solid 5-3 win run. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you're interested in seeing more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.